Alright, so you want a way to get low number serials. For example, this one recently came out. Obviously, you can't get low numbers anymore, but say for example, you want to get low numbers on future ones. I'll be explaining that in this video. Now, this video, as you might see, is a little bit long, but I want to make sure I explain mostly everything if I can. Everything. Obviously, there might be like a couple things where I forget. Now, there will be like timestamps on this video, so if you want to skip to something you've already done or whatever, just go through the video, I guess. But for this, you will need to download two things. What you need to download is TinyTask. Now, I know a lot of people might not like TinyTask and stuff like that, and I want to quickly say, if you use TinyTask for anything other than buying limiteds in Driving Empire, you will be banned. Okay, so you can only use TinyTask for buying limiteds. I want to put that out there. You can only use TinyTask for buying limiteds. But what you want to go to is either download here or go to downloads here, download 1.77, get the exe file. I'll leave this all in the comments or the description, whatever. Basically download it. I already have it downloaded. So if I go ahead and open it here, it will show up here. Yeah, that's the download. If you don't want to download this because you think it's a virus, that's fine. But this is like TinyTask's own website, so it is safe. But if you don't want to download it, then you can't really do this like macro thing. But anyway, if you're on a Mac, I'm pretty sure you can still download Task. I don't know, and obviously if you're on mobile, you just can't do this, so I'm sorry. But everything to do with TinyTask, you have open, you have save, you have record, play, exe, which I never use exe, and then preferences. Now before we start with anything, make sure your preferences on, like here, is always on top, is on. Because if you turn it off, if you click into anything, it disappears. So make sure this is on, so if I click into Roblox, it stays on the screen kind of thing. It never goes away, which I guess if you don't want it, you can turn it off, but I would keep it on. Now, another thing is, quickly, the hotkeys. So here are my hotkeys. I set mine to F8 and mine to F12. Now, you can use other ones, so by default, it's the top one here, but I've set mine to this. If you want to change yours to what I've got mine, that's fine. If you don't, and you want to keep yours, like yours, then, you know, that's whatever. But what you also need is to have a cheap car that you don't have, because you need to set this up. So, for example, I sold my bike for this because it's a cheap bike, and to be honest, I don't really care all too much about it. So, this is for example. But what you need to do is you need to remember your recording hotkey. You don't want to go up here and press record, because otherwise it's slower. So you need to make sure you remember your hotkey. And basically you press your record hotkey. So for example, mine is F8. You do record, purchase, yes. And that's it. You can do this a lot quicker, but I wanted to just do that slow for example. Normally I would do mine a little bit quicker. I'll just quickly show you like what mine normally looks like. Mine normally looks like this. It's literally less than a second. But as soon as you like about to buy, you press F8, click, over here, click, and then as soon as you buy this thing, you stop the recording. That's that out the way. Make sure you also have your play custom speed at 1000, just so it goes quickly. But anyway, sell this, and then another thing you'll need is something called OP Autoclicker, which I have right here. I uninstalled it just to show you stuff, but basically go to your Microsoft Store, OP Autoclicker, install here, and it literally takes like a second, almost done, see? Then basically just type in OP Autoclicker, and here is the autoclicker, I guess. But here is what you need to do for OP Autoclicker. So every single time this opens, no matter what you do, it starts at 100 milliseconds. What you want to do is put this to 1. That's what you need to do. And then your hotkey settings, if you want to change this, you can change it. I've got mine set to Shift F4. You can obviously change this to whatever you want, but this is my keybind for it. But anyway, that's all you need to do for that. You don't need to click anything else. You don't need to do anything. But you go back into here and obviously go to your test, you know, whatever. You need to make sure everything is working perfectly fine. Now, before we start, I want to make sure you know something. So if you go to preferences again, make sure you have continuous playback on. If you don't have it on, it will literally only play once, but you want it to be on. Now you can do set like playback loops, but I don't really prefer really like that because, you know, if you just go to continuous playback on, you can stop it at any time anyway. But turn your auto clicker on by, you know, you can either click here or you can press Shift F4. I normally just press it and then press your start button on Tiny Task and it will look something like this. Obviously, I've already bought it once. You can't buy the same car multiple times. But yeah, you bought the car. You've bought it quickly. So that's an easy explanation how you set it up. Now you can actually save your profiles or save your things kind of thing. So if you go to Tiny Task, I'll move this towards like the middle, whatever. You see open and save. These are two things you will mostly need every single time you open up Tiny Task. Mostly open if you do it, but save. Basically, you go here, it'll go to your documents thing. Obviously, I have like games here, but basically save it as Driving Empire Limited buying kind of thing. Say that's my save name, whatever. Now, once you do that, you can actually go ahead, close out of this. Oh my god, Tiny Task gone. But you open up Tiny Task back up, you press open, and you go to here, Driving Empire Limited buying. If I go back into here. Now, before I quickly buy this, I want to say something. For some reason, the Tiny Task doesn't work when you save it once. It only works like with the saved when you save it twice for whatever reason. So basically, you're going to need to go ahead and just record again, do this, that, and then save it again under Driving Empire Buying 2. Then, after you close this, and then you open it again, this time, the 2 should work perfectly fine. Obviously, I need to just quickly sell the thing again. But don't ask me why. Tiny Task does this thing. It's every single time you make a new thing. If you already have a save file already done, you don't need to do this. But once you're first setting this up, you will need to do this. So basically, obviously I have the car here. Alright, I forgot to mention this in the video. So once you open up something, so like my file here, Driving Empire Buying, whatever, you always have to press continuous playback when you open up a file. Otherwise, it would only play it once. So, for example, obviously, I just loaded it up. And say, for example, I forgot to press continuous playback. It will only play once. So, literally, I did this. And I press play. It literally only does it once. Also, I don't know why there you go. So, you need to make sure you press continuous playback. And then once you play it now, it will actually continuous playback. I forgot to mention that when I was like recording at the time. I just wanted to make sure you guys know because, well, I forgot to mention it. F4, and then now the save is working completely fine. Don't ask me why it doesn't work like the first time or whatever. It's just a thing with Tiny Task. Yeah, there's your, thing. There's your macro. Now, I know a lot of people don't want to actually set this up because they don't want to buy a car or whatever, which makes sense. It's completely fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a channel in my Discord server for Tiny Task saves. So, for example, this one, I have a 2K quality monitor, like, I don't know the resolution, but it's 2K. So I will have this one in my Discord server as 2K, but I will make another macro, which is for 1080p monitors, and if you don't want to actually set the whole thing up, basically I'll just have it ready for you to use, and you can just use Tiny Task. Like, you could just straight up go and use it. You don't have to go ahead and set this whole thing up. You basically, as long as you have Tiny Task installed, you can literally just press open, and it will open like the macro, and you don't have to set up anything, and it'll work completely fine. But that's only if you don't want to actually do it yourself. I would say do it yourself because then you can learn how Tiny Task works, and you can use Tiny Task for other like games if they allow it. Make sure games allow it. But yeah, that's basically all you need to do for Tiny Task. I do hope this helps. It's kind of a long video, but I wanted to make sure I explained kind of everything like as well. If you do have any questions, obviously ask me, but yeah, that's about it. Like I said, I'll have a macro thing in my Discord server for Tiny Task. So if you want, just the macro preset, you don't have to set anything up. It'll be all set up for you. And as long as you don't like press anything like, any random stuff, it'll work completely fine. But yeah, that's about it. Hope this helps, and good luck on trying to get low serial limiters, because as long as you time it right, it works perfectly fine, and I've gotten, a few low serials. But yeah, that's about it. Hope this helps. Have a good day.